The Real Wargamer here with Rebel Yell. Small Unit Tactics of the American Civil War. This is Module 3 scenario, Gordon's Assault. May 6, 1864, in order to blunt Grant's drive toward Richmond, Lee struck the Union column strung out in the dense wood known locally as the Wilderness. On the Confederate left, John B. Gordon, brigade commander in Ewell's corps, pleaded with his superiors to assail the Union right, which his reconnaissance had shown to be hanging in the air. All day early, Gordon's divisional commander in Ewell disagreed. When Lee arrived toward evening, he ordered an immediate attack, much chagrined at his subordinates' caution. The objective of the attack, Grant's line of communication along the Germanna Plank Road. With a rebel yell, Gordon's veterans struck the Federals in the flank and rear, mangling one Yankee brigade and overrunning a second, but the attack was too little too late. The arrival of nightfall and a blue reinforcement stopped Gordon's drive short of its goal. So, 1st Brigade has moved through the woods here. They didn't get far going up the elevation and through the woods. Now we're on the P2 small arms segment, so that's the Union small arms segment. They're doing a bunch of small arms fire at, I guess, what you would call long range for these smoothbore muskets. That is at 2 hex range, which again is smoothbore muskets at 2 hex range is 0.5 multiplier, which basically means half strength. They did get a disruption here on a regiment or part of a regiment of 2nd Brigade. And they got a disruption. Oh no, I'm in the process here. So the factors are, as they fired over here. By the way, again, units stacked together of the same regiment can combine fire, but I think that's the extent of combining fire. I believe, well, so far anyways, I've only seen that. I have not seen that you can ever combine basically multi-hex fire. Maybe it comes later, I don't know, but I haven't found it yet. The only rule I'm aware of at this point, again, I'm at Module 3, is that units of the same regiment stacked together may combine fire. Okay. So the factors over here is they fired, I think I had this stack fired, this amassing fire, right? Massed here, or fired here, followed on here, and massed more fire here, right? The factors over here is obviously half strength for all of the Union because they're firing at 2 hexes, but +1 line modifier for the target being in the clear. So you definitely want to take advantage of firing at the army and at the enemy in the clear. Okay, over here, just a few things to remember. Again, you can probably barely, actually let me zoom, well, I won't zoom in. You can barely see that there's actually a elevation change there. Okay, so it's on this hex side, but this is a clear hex, and line of sight can go from here to here, no problem. So if it's only blocked on one side, it's not blocked. So this stack, which is here on this star here, fired here and actually got a disrupted result. Now, what's important here though, and unfortunately I can't remember where I found it, but when I was reading the rules separately from playing a couple days ago, I finally saw that any bit of woods in a hex makes the hex a woods hex. So I was wondering about that before, because this is really just a line of wood on the side of the hex here, but I guess you treat this as a woods hex. I'll continue playing that way for now. Okay, so they're firing out of a woods hex. Stacked here we have 5 companies. So we have 5 companies, plus we have, which isn't relevant, but we have the division commander and we have a regimental flag. What's important here is we have 5 infantry companies. However, we want to check here for woods or marsh hexes, firing strength points allowed in hex. For firing 3. So we can stack up to 6 strength points, but I think only up to a maximum of 3 can fire out of that Woods hex. So even though there are 5 companies, only 3 of them can fire out of the Woods hex, so that's what I used. I had them fire at a strength of 3, not 5. So there's that to remember. There's something else. The other thing to remember, oh yeah, the other thing to remember is that now at Module 3, which is why I'll probably photograph all of these scenario sheets, because they're in the book, they're in the back of the rules book. This is why I'll probably photocopy them and have them separate. So when they got a disrupted, they got a disrupted result here. When this stack fired, again, I'm trying to mass fires. When this stack fired, they got a question mark result. So the Confederate defenders had to roll for disorganization. Now, I look and I figure out that the target is what did I do? Wait. What did I do? No, it was, sorry, I'm picking up over here. I'm sorry. That's all over here. They did fire. This stack fired, and actually they rolled a 5 and didn't get a result. That's what it is. What I was going to talk about was back here. When this stack fired here on the units that were already disrupted, they got a question mark result. So that stack got the question mark result, which means that the Confederate defenders need to roll for disorganization. So I look and determine, I need to know the regiment. It's obviously Regiment 1, 2. Yes. So that's where you have to, no way I'm going to memorize all these different regimental morales. So I have to look for the morale. So I've looked at the regiment, and that regiment's morale is 6. So they rolled a 2, which means they easily passed. But that's what the other thing is. Now that we're at Module 3 rules, see at Module 2, this is Module 2 I already played. It was easy because I could remember all the Confederates had 6, all the Unions have had 5. And in the first scenario, both sides had 6, so morale was always 6. Now we're going to Module 3, where it's a matter of every single regiment having its own morale, separate morale. So that's something to pay attention to now as we do all of these, I guess you could call them disorganization checks and rallies. All right, so we're moving on to all of the Union fire on the rest of the line there was ineffective. So we're moving on to segment M, which is another P1 action segment. So actually now you would check command control again. These guys are completely consolidated. I think there's every regiment per hex. Yeah, I think everybody else is. There's the brigade commander, but the brigade commander's in the clear. Okay. We are still fine. Boy, I really need to watch. So far, I've had to really watch the Woods hexes for tracing that command. Okay. Because what's this biggest thing about being out of command is you can't be, it's not that you can't be, but you lack, or you're significantly penalized in taking offensive action. You can't enter an MFZ. What is some other? It matters. So you cannot assault. You cannot enter an EZOC, and you cannot enter an MFZ, and your morale is reduced by 1. So that tells me, you're basically going from offense to defense. You cannot press home an offensive being out of command. Okay, out of command control. Now, let's talk. Now, P1 action segment, I'm looking at the Confederate line here. The big thing is what to do. We now have 2 disrupted stacks. So I was wondering, do we press on, or do we press on, do we hold back and rally, or do we press on the good order units, hold the disrupted stacks back, and try to rally them? To make that decision, I want to review effects of disruption. There are a few, but they're not overwhelming, but they are to note. So the biggest one is that -3 line modification, which again roughly means in many cases about half the firepower. So your disrupted stacks have about half their firepower. They do have a ZOC, but it doesn't cost anything extra for the enemy to enter or leave it. What that means is you have a weakened ZOC, basically. You have a ZOC, but it's weakened. And then, no, that's it. Those are the 2 specific effects of disruption. So it's not terrible. So actually I could press on. Actually, the point here is whether, if I'm going to press on, is I don't think I can rally in an EZOC. Where did I see that? That would be significant. Where is it? Unit manual. Wait. All right, I'll talk through this whole combat here. So first of all, the first Confederate brigade advanced and started to wrap around the Union far right. This stack moved first, which did not, as far as I understand, generate advance fire because they did not enter the MFZ of the units there. Then this unit moved around here, which, by the way, just to review that, they started here. They moved forward 3 for light woods. They did their 1 free facing change, and then they moved, into woods. So 4, 5, 6, 7, not 1 extra. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. EZOC wouldn't wait. They wouldn't pay 1 extra because that's woods anyways. I still find it strange that you're paying to. I still find it strange that EZOC is all the way around the unit, but anyways, I won't talk about that now. Okay, so then these guys moved up. When this unit moved here, they did generate advanced fire. So when this stack moved here, they generated advanced fire from the Union 2 companies. That's their marker there. They have a firepower of 8 total. They have down 1 line for woods, because the Confederates are in woods there. Up 1 for advanced fire for a net of 0. They rolled a 2, which is great. That is a 1-0 hit on here. And then the Confederates have to do a disorganization check. I check the morale for the 3rd Regiment, 1st Brigade. Yeah, 3rd Regiment, 1st Brigade. 3-1 is 6. -1 for the 0 hit is 5. +1 for the regimental flag is back up to a 6. They easily pass with a 2. So they are not disorganized, but they have that first O hit that goes on the top unit, as I understand it. And so that's that on the Union far right.